And we're live.
Hello, and welcome to another evening of Dungeons and Dad Jokes. While Rhonda is hunting for some dice, being our dice goblin, she can't find any of them. Um, yeah, we'll go ahead and get this started. Uh, if you are new to us, welcome.
Lucky
Be
you.
sure to lucky you. You should subscribe to our channel. If you're watching live, let us know that you're watching. Uh, Check out our website at danddadjokes.com. It is undergoing some changes and stuff, so if you've seen it before, go check it out, see the changes, and particularly check out the upcoming events because we will be in Louisville the 15th, 16th, and then in here in Tucson
The next
the following weekend. Yeah, I'm like dates are eluding me right now. The following weekend. So we're going to be going to Bourbon City Steam and to Wild Wild West Con. Um, so check us out there. And we may be shifting a little bit of our schedule or canceling a night or whatever due to travel and things like that during those last 2 weeks of March. So just keep an update, keep an eye out for stuff, keep watching here for updates. Um, and go to their websites for tickets because you can't purchase tickets on our website. But links to their website are on our website, so check that out. Uh, any other important announcements? I'm going to take that as a no.
Where are my dice?
I don't know. You were the
I
one
didn't
that
add them.
organized your office. I cannot help you here.
My office looks so cute, but not at the expense of my dice.
Well, we're gonna go. She's gonna keep looking for them, and we're just gonna go ahead and hop in. Tonight's episode is session 90, episode 98.
98.
Oh,
98. They jump out and bite her. Um, session 98, and it's entitled "Awake."
they were in the drawer with my very important personal stuff.
Okay. This is why labeling things don't help you. They don't get where they're supposed to be anyway.
I don't know. I think my dice are very important, and they're definitely personal to me.
Okay. All right. So what happened last week? Yeah. Let's get you caught up on what happened last week. I've started writing really long town criers, and I just don't want to read them. All right. The group started out last week in Nyliesh, where Evangeline picked up some more ink from Galago, and he, in turn, also provides room and board for the group to stay the night. However, as night progressed and everybody started to head to bed, a song started to play, which quickly put Evangeline to sleep, but the rest of them were quite curious about the song and started searching out some things. Realizing that the sound was omnipresent, they couldn't follow the sound to its destination. Forsyth eventually takes to the air and discovers that there is an invisible stone near the governmental building. He brings it back to Kadeth, who identifies an additional enchantment on it. Curious about this and why there's something that's forcing the people to go to sleep, Fix wakes up Evangeline, and all of them go to the governmental building. There, they meet a guard who shares a little bit of information about the stone and the song. Well, not the stone, but the song that plays out, and basically reducing the tension and fighting that happens within the city. Um, and the guard refusing to wake up the leader of the city, Mara Levis, and lets them know that he will appoint a time first thing in the morning to meet with her. The group goes back to the inn, and when the song is over, go to bed, which the song ends by midnight. The next morning, they meet with Mara Levis, who shares that part of the stone's reasoning is to prevent nightly rituals or the periodically rituals that are taking place at night by the Fahat to cause mutations and other ritualistic uh, events is part of the reason for the stones. She is in talks with the Fahat to try to stop the forced mutations upon those who don't want it and to continue to bring peace to the city and plans on those stones not being forever. With some conversation between her, Fix, and Evangeline, she comes to the compromise to try to have it completed in 3 weeks, also implying that she would see Fix again in 3 weeks as well. Eventually, they head out of the city after talking to a few of the people and finding that they're okay with the stones for the most part as well. They head out of the city and go to the citadel of the Iron Saint, where they discover 4 people sitting around a sphere of energy meditating. Forsyth makes contact with one of them through telepathy, and they agree to meet him at their home. Once they arrive, they are surprised to see others waiting there as well. Through several questions, the groups learn that the 4 are part of what they call the Soul Court, and they are looking for a 5th to join them. Their ancestors built the home in the 4th age, and they have been watching people ever since. Those they watch are chosen depending on their lives, interests, influence, and those that influence them.
I know where they can get a 5th.
At the local bar. When asked about the group, they share that they were indeed seen, but only from a distance, as they were protected. As Evangeline writes in her book these events, one of the watchers, or one of these people, the youngest, Zavachary, who you come to find out, watches and is able to read the book. At times, Zavachary seems to communicate with the others telepathically about what she sees. Further questions reveal that they are hosts of their ancestral spirits or souls. Some accept this willing. One was born with the ancestor being passed from their mother. When asked about the orrery, they teleport them back to the stone where they were meditating, and the group discovers the hole beneath the sphere with the aid of magic and gets themselves down into the larger room to fix the orrery of this ancient city. So you are in the orrery. Oh, I came back and Joe's missing. You,
I had to step away.
ah, you came back, or you are in the orrery at the Citadel of the Iron Saint, which is I don't know what city, according to your ancient map.
I don't remember what city it was off the top of my head.
Idris is
That
the
one.
city. Idris. I had to go
Idris
back
Elba?
to the map. Just Idris. Idris. Nothing extra. Just Idris. That is the ancient city that this was at. That you're assuming this is the orrery of. So you're in there with the orrery. Uh, you are instantly going to begin to work on fixing it and getting it back online, correct?
Guessing
I
I need to roll.
Yeah, you should roll. You'll probably hit it without any issues, but you should roll. Um, you can roll
Every
your.
once in a while.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say you can roll your. What have I been making you roll for this? Was I having you roll forge?
Forging.
Okay, that's what I thought. And Evangeline, you can also help by rolling your Numenera,
I don't think we're gonna have much issues with
but I don't
these.
think you need to worry about it too much. If one of you happens to roll really, really bad, the other one will probably roll fine.
I think we're both at like plus 17,
You're really high.
and I have advantage.
Oh, geez. Oh, actually, I think Evangeline does too when it comes to Numenera.
Okay. That's a 37.
Holy crap! Yes,
That's a
you're
nat
going
20.
to be. Oh, geez. You're going to be just fine. You're going to get.
You just missed it.
You just missed it. Sorry. You're going to get into that orrery, and between you and Evangeline kind of checking out some things and whatnot, you get in there and you realize some things that are off that you're able to pull out, rebend, fix, you know, get it straightened out, whatever you need to do, get it re-entered, and you give it a good kickstart, and it pops up, and you hear this nice little hum, and you begin to see things, lights flashing. The thing starts to move just slightly, um, almost like it's keeping time, and you definitely feel the presence of a large magical field.
When I look up out of the hole, do I see the shield starting to form?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
You'll see also the energy sphere that was there, and just kind of just a pale blue with some swirls on it just a little bit, is now a brighter blue as well, and it looks maybe just a little bit larger.
I'm going to take a little bit of extra time to try to make it tamper-proof, or to make it
You say pamper or tamper?
Tamper, tamper proof. There will be no spoiling this orrery. You got it?
Oh, no tampering.
I heard camper.
tamper.
That's what I heard.
Camper. We don't want any of
Camper,
those
okay,
either.
yeah.
We don't want any campers either.
Yeah, no.
Well, my mind
tamper with a
automatically
T.
went to the sleepers.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
All right.
I don't know if you want a separate roll for that or what.
No, I think with your 37, I think you can figure this out.
Good, because that roll was much less.
I will let that 37 ride a little bit on this orrery. You fool around with it a little bit, and for the most
Let it
part,
ride, because if it slows down, my 35 is going to hit it in the butt.
Evangeline could tell you some spots that, like, okay, we need to cover this here or do that there, kind of thing. How she helps to protect her own constructs and things like that. So you figure it out. It would take, once you're done with it, I mean, nothing's 100% foolproof. Like there
Fools
are
are
ways
ingenious.
to destroy it,
Nothing's
but
foolproof. Fools are ingenious.
I know, no doubt. But it definitely stands a chance. Like, it's going to take several really strong hits to break into some things that could cause damage. It would take some higher level magic to like destroy the energy stone that's down in there. Things like that. You manage to shield it in a way that will prevent like just an
I'm not going to
accidental
stop.
thing.
I'm not going to stop people with my level of skill from
Right.
messing it up, or people from sticking a stick of dynamite into it. But I'm trying to
Just your-
dissuade the amateurs.
Yes. You manage to do that. You cover the important bits and bobs that, the red button isn't showing.
Yes, I have painted it blue.
Yes.
Non-resistance has been wiped away.
Yes.
Resistance
Yes.
is futile.
Especially when you're playing with Jody. She likes to push all the buttons.
I do push all the buttons when I'm a player. It's fun. I can't help it. What does this one do? What does this one do?
Do you really want to know?
Oh, I've gotten myself into quite a bit of trouble. I had to get killed once. Oh wait, we're on a
On a tangent.
tangent.
Oh no, we never do that.
So, anything else you're doing down here in this orrery?
I'm going to do outside the orrery in this room. I'm going to do an investigation.
Just to check out this room.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
29.
29. All right, you're looking around the room, and it just looks like a room. There's buttons and switches and various other panels and such all about the room. But as you're looking, you do find in one area that it looks like there may be some pegs and screws and things that are not actually in this panel. This panel could be easily pulled aside.
I'll grab a hold of it and pull it aside.
All right. You open up that panel, and inside you see 3 books.
Okay. I'll pull them out and see what their titles are.
Oddly enough, their titles are 1, 2, and 3. There are no words on their titles.
Okay, I'll open them up and see what's in
All
them.
right. As
I'm
you
glad
open,
there's not a 0 because that would mean nothing to me.
So you open it up, right? You start with number 1 or whatever. You find that these 3 books are in connection to one another. One of them appears to just be like a logbook. It's got like a date, a time, a name, and like a space for extra notes. This looks like maintaining this orrery. This is a logbook for maintaining the orrery. The last date on it is from the 3rd age, and it is from a man by the name of Koros.
Spell, please.
C as in cat, URROS. Koros.
Curious.
Curious. The second book seems to be schematics. Schematics specific to this orrery. Its original design, its additions, its redesigns, some various like bits and bobs. It has some enchantment information for the Power Stone and things like that. It looks like this is this orrery specifically. It's those schematics.
Okay.
The third book looks like it is, as you're flipping through it, it's got some like contracts almost, if you kind of read through them with several signatures and stuff. And as you kind of read through some of these contracts, it looks like it is setting up for responsibilities of all the cities to maintain orreries, what they're used for, what they're not to be used for. Part of the book is also like the schematic of placement and how they interact with each other.
Okay.
All of that, you see that like the orreries, there is a lot of leeway to use the orreries for multiple things, but the number one thing that this book says it must be able to do is shield. And it has to be like you read that every city is responsible to maintain the shield and allow it to connect to neighboring shields.
Okay.
So you get the impression that they probably could break the connection between the cities if they wanted to, since the wording was like they must allow it to be connected to other cities.
Great.
And some other bits and pieces of various things. They're like some of the orreries could teleport, some of the orreries also kept time, some of the orreries also was a power source for arcane users. The orreries were used for multiple things, and not every orrery had all things.
All right. Fix.
Yes,
You
self.
might want to come over here and look at these.
He'll go over and he'll take a look.
All right. As you flip through them, you kind of find the same thing.
In particular, the schematics and stuff. Because I know that's something that he's very interested in. And the contracts for the cities, I don't
The
know if we can
cities.
find any loopholes in anything that we would want to try to correct.
Is it in here?
Yeah, I will look through that. And then, does any of it like list what the other ones can do? Like, does it have details on each of the?
As you begin to really read, now you're like actually reading this book.
I'm gonna also have Kadeth, if you could come over and scour these books. He's a learned man. Particularly these logbooks.
Mm-hmm.
See if there's any names in this logbook that might possibly correlate to the people upstairs.
Okay.
The ancients.
The
The ancestors, sorry, wrong word.
Right.
The ancestors. The ancients is a different show.
You do find very quickly that the cities that are in here are the ones that fell after Shaji disappeared. Those are the cities that are mentioned in these contracts. So they're the last 8 remaining, and
Right.
Shaji is in here. It seems like when you're reading through here, it does seem like that the leaders of Saji are the ones that created these contracts and had them signed by various officials of the cities. You do find that in some of these cities, I have to go to my map so that I can see where these cities are to remind myself. Dagon, the orrery has the ability to awaken the guardians.
Okay. Dagon
Dagon
awakens.
awakens the guardians.
Does it say who the guardians are?
Nope, it just says the guardians. Although, if you want to roll me a history check, let's see how much you paid attention in school.
I nudge Kadath.
Well, I'm going to make a roll.
Okay.
I can make a roll. I'm just.
Or if I'm not, well, I'm going to make a roll.
Okay.
We might do just as well.
I rolled the average. Cinnamon roll works best.
Ha, ha, ha.
I
What
rolled
did you
very
roll?
average and got 25.
25? That was your average?
I got 14.
I have a plus of 14.
Oh, jeez.
I rolled a 28.
Yeah, I rolled a
Kadath is
13 for a
history buff.
14. So.
Oh, good, good. It's like, isn't that one thing? And Kadath and Evangeline both look at you like you have 3 heads. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's the thing.
Just
With
in
place.
class to pay attention in history.
I'm sorry, I'm an artiste.
Sure. Yeah, sandwich artiste.
The Guardians, your history, Kadeth and Evangeline, you'll both remember the Guardians as being giants, titans, even. And that, if you recall correctly, the sacred monoliths are also still, they look like gigantic statues of warriors. The sacred monoliths do, but they kind of float in place. They do move around just a little bit, just what they're standing on kind of just moves around a little bit, but they don't travel, like that doesn't travel. But you're figuring now that you know Dagon's orrery awakens the guardians. Those gigantic statues, the two of you could easily put 2 and 2 together. That those are probably the guardians.
Okay.
Kirali can transport or teleport to any other active orrery. Osnu was a warming stone. It actually, now that you kind of see on this parchment that it was a warming stone, that probably, perhaps the southern wall wasn't exactly the southern wall when this was active down there. Be interesting to see it in another few years or so, because you have activated Osnu. Idris,
which is where we are.
which is where you are, was known as the Seeing Eye.
I think
Some
I'm
sort
gonna
of
have a
remote
heart
viewing?
attack and die of nuts.
Varus, Varis, that city, was strength. It was a very strong orrery, amplified might be a better term for it. It's so far removed from the others that they amplified it and added some teleportation to it. Shaji is listed in here as having arcane source and time.
Oh, we felt that one.
Yep. Benalera also has some amplification to it, as well as energy, um, a natural energy. It seems like the things around Benalera, probably agriculturally speaking, was probably really good. The Siamam, which Phalathus activated one at the activated Siamam. Siamam had healing qualities. And planar travel.
Ah, that's good to know.
And Natomi has a portal and time. I did catch them all, right?
I think so.
Yes, I think so. Because I started with Dagon and then I went in a circle. Rarmon, of course, is not in here.
But we know what other functions it has. Well, once we're done with that, Vix looks to Evangelina and the others and says, over the link, what should we do about them?
I'm going to make a little note in the logbook.
Okay. Today's date.
I'm going to put the date. I'm going to put our name. And in the notes, I'm gonna put reactivated orrery.
And improved it.
Reactivated orrery with improvements.
With it
And then we'll go into the schematics and show the improvements. Leaving out one missing link so that nobody can tamper.
There you go.
And then I'll put the books back in there. And I'm going to put the panel back in place and put the pegs and screws and stuff in where they seem like they ought to be.
Okay. You put all 3 books back into the panel or into the cubby, or do you not put, or you only put the logbook in there? Like, what are you keeping versus what do you?
Do you want to take the contracts and the schematics?
I think we should.
Okay, I'll just put the logbook back in.
Okay.
Because the logbook appears to be just for this orrery.
It does appear to be for this orrery. So, all right. Why you ponder the question of what to do with the ones up above?
I don't know.
You hear Zavakri say, "Oh, he's here."
Guess we'll go see what they're up to.
Sounds good.
Because he's here, whoever he is.
And
I guess we crawl out.
you hear them move. The hole is in the ceiling.
I have, let me see here. I will get, oh, that's the wrong list. Sorry. I will send Buckley.
Oh yeah, you left Buckley up there, didn't you?
No, we brought Buckley down. I used Vortex Warp to bring him and Kadath down.
Okay.
And I'm going to use Vortex Warp to send them back up.
Okay. All right. Vortex warp them back up. When you warp back up to death, and Buckley is with you, as soon as you kind of warp back up, you catch sight of the three. The 3 of them are leading the older one. It looks like the older one is like can't see. Like they're leading him kind of to the edge, and as you kind of realize what they're doing, they disappear.
Okay.
You assume that they're probably teleporting back toward the home.
And I'll climb out of the hole.
Okay. Evangeline, you're climbing out. Fix, you're attempting to climb out.
Yeah.
Throw a rope down, pull you up.
I'll
It is in
climb
the
out.
ceiling. So you make your way out of the hole. Forsyth, are you climbing or are you shaping?
I'll climb for the fun of it.
Okay.
Just keep myself exercising.
All right. So you all climb out of the hole, and you do see kind of in the distance, you do see them on the other side of the crevice. You know, they do appear to be at the house now. And you can all see that 3 of them are leading the older one, which is Borgos. Borgos is the one being led. And you do see another person, although you can't quite make out who it is, on the other side of like the courtyard. You just know that somebody's there, but it's a little too far for you to actually make out who it is.
Who was the younger one?
The youngest one was Zavakri.
Okay.
The eldest appeared to be Borgos.
Appeared to be. I love that term.
Well, you know. How old are they really? He just looks the oldest.
Well, that's the thing. We don't actually know because there's a certain hiddenness to
Right.
their reality.
Yep. And Tulad and Nashana are, both look like they're
The
between
middle
their
children.
ages. They're the middle children.
But are they? Appearances can be deceptive.
Yes, they can. As you look around, you see them over there. They seem like they're headed toward the other person, slowly. But you can see that there is definitely a shield spreading out over this area, and it looks like it's reaching northward, northwest.
We can't help but stop and pay attention to our handiwork.
Yeah. You kind of, oh, hey, all right. It's probably guessing where you're at. It's probably reaching toward Rarmont.
Who wants to get us all over there?
Right now, you're in a floating island with a
How far is it
encased
between the two?
sphere. 100 feet or so.
Oh, that's easy. Anyone got a misty step?
There's only 30 feet, I thought.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Misty Step's only 30 feet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dimension door, I think, is like
Dimension
500
door, yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do have that.
I don't have any
Teleportation as well, anywhere you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Vortex warp is like 200 and something feet, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it'd be worth actually.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be worth wasting a wind walk or anything like
No.
that.
If you have a Dimension Door loaded up and you can.
I have it.
How many people does it allow? Is it a time or is it like you and one other person?
One will
or something
increase.
like that?
One willing.
Okay.
Never mind about that then.
How far away is this?
100
About
feet.
100 feet.
Close enough to fly.
I can fly there, but
See,
I can just fly everyone back and forth. I can fly back and forth.
I can cast fly on.
Or I can do it a different way. I could, but that would use too many spell slots, and I really
I
don't want to
can
use
do
a whole lot
one
of spell
spell
slots.
and cast fly.
How many people can you do it on?
All but one, I think.
Well, what level spell is your fly at now? Because yours auto level, right?
Yeah.
You're at like 6th level, aren't you, or something like that?
So they max at 5th.
Oh, they max at 5th. Okay.
So I can do +2 targets. So I can do
3 of you.
3 people total.
I'm going with. I'll just go with Freedom of the Winds.
Freedom of the winds. What is freedom of the winds?
Winds wrap around your body, tugging at your hair and clothes, and lift you your feet off the ground. You gain a flying speed of 60 feet. Additionally, you have advantage on ability checks to avoid grapple and straight and all that. So,
Nice.
How long does that last?
10 minutes.
Nice.
Right.
Is that self only?
Yeah, that's self only.
I could do levitate on myself and fly on the 3 of you.
There you go.
That's it. You do
Levitate. Does that
And
work?
it's,
2 of them and the robot.
then it's 1 slot to take 4 of us. Is levitate.
Yep.
And,
So
and then I
I
can just pull you along with the fly. So
I could hold a rope and pull you along with the Freedom of the
Yeah.
Winds.
Oh, never
Yeah, you
mind.
can
They're
do that
both
too.
concentration. I can do fly
Okay.
or levitate.
Oh, bummer. Well, on the
um,
plus side, I guess if 3 of you fly, between the other 3 of you, you can carry them.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and it can be fixed, and he can just have his armor as a apron, so he's not super heavy.
There you go.
Okay, so I'll cast fly on, I guess, me,
You,
Evangeline, and
Evangeline, and
Buckley.
Buckley.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it lasts 10 minutes.
In all
right.
reality, Fix could probably ride on Buckley.
Oh,
That's
true.
quite possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will ride on Buckley.
All right.
So I'll just let the wind take me
You
away.
just lift up, fly away.
Kinda like
Calgon, take
Calgon.
me away.
almost like being at a personal tornado. Oh, really?
Well, yeah. All right. As you all kind of, okay, let's do this, and you head over there, you do see the three of them. It looks like as you're kind of landing, you see Borgos is kind of like trance or so. You see the fifth gentleman is walking up, kind of brown hair, hazel eyes. Evangeline, you recognize him.
Oh, and as soon as we land, the armor goes back.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
I know this dude.
You know
I'm
this
just going to
dude.
hover around for a little bit and get a view of the landscape
Okay.
because I can.
Yeah.
And I recognize
Might as
this
well.
dude as
You recognize this dude as Rattan.
Or-
Oh gosh,
Han.
lost his name.
Rattan Lounge? Oh.
Rattan Balin.
Oh, he's the one that was at the Trinston party, right?
no.
Nope.
I thought he was
Uh,
early on.
So she
He was
recognized
early on.
he was very early on. He was before the party at the Trinstons. Very early
I
on.
have him on my character sheet.
That's how early on it is.
He wasn't. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm trying to remember.
I will share with my party,
It's my party.
and I might cry.
If you want to.
Rattan Balin is the reason I was sent out on mission to begin with Seeker. He came back from Hidden Naresh, the Black Riage, with cybernetics.
Numenera.
Numenera mutation.
And other mutations. Tentacles were growing from his body. Does he look like the human, or has he been consumed? Does he look different in body?
He looks better. He has a cybernetic arm. He looks like he has like Numenera for an arm.
Just like I saw.
Yeah, just like you saw. There's no tendrils or anything anymore. But he seems to be walking in with confidence, like he knows where he's at.
I'm going to step forward. When we land, I'm going to step forward when I recognize him.
Okay.
And look at him.
Okay.
To see if he looks back at me and if he recognizes me at all.
When you step forward, he seems to be headed straight for the other four of them. When you kind of step forward, he does turn to look at you. And then he turns back to the four.
Does he look like he
Continues to
has
walk
ill
on.
intent?
Hard to say. Go ahead and roll me an insight.
Okie dokie. I shall roll you an insight. Where did I put my character? There it is. Insight.
Two things you need, your character and dice.
Ah. Well, I only got a 12.
It's hard
But-
to say. He seems he's walking with purpose. Like,
But I will use my detect thoughts.
all right, you use detect thoughts. The first thing you hear is, "Man, I look old."
I know that feeling.
That's the initial thought you get as he seems to be walking forward. You get, "Man, I look old."
Okay.
The other three, not Borgos, but of the other three, Tulad steps forward and says, "Glad you've joined us. Took long enough. Come." And he'll start to head toward the house.
So he's kind of expecting them.
With an 18 passive insight, anything come across?
Your passive insight, okay. You have
Doesn't
an
work at all.
18. With your passive, you see that this seems odd to you. There's a little bit of disjunct in his movement, very, very minute. It's almost like he's been here before. He knows where he's going, but yet he hasn't.
Does it seem like he difficulties adjusting to a new body type disjunction? Like the legs are too short or too long. That's from what you're used to.
A little bit, yes. Matter of fact, it's kind of a he's taking longer strides than what his body might do. He is a little. He's not very tall. He's not a very tall man. But it does seem like that is a disjunct in there. But you still get the even though there's a disjunct, you still get that confidence. Like he is walking with purpose. He has a mission. He's going to accomplish this, even though there is a disjunct slightly.
I'm going to say loudly, Reton Balin, or should I address you as Leoros?
As they're walking kind of toward the house, the other two have Borgos. He stops and he turns around. He says, "You should address me as Leoros. I am no longer Reton."
And you are an ancestor. Is that the right term?
Close enough. I mean, however you want to call it.
Heads. Oh,
Represent an
uncalled it.
ancestor?
I will be.
Is somebody like pounding on their desk or something? I keep hearing something.
Oh, it might be keys.
Oh,
Just because
gotcha.
other people like mechanical keys. Some people like quiet keys.
I
like
it
quiet
sounds like
keys.
somebody's like pounding on the desk.
It does sound like it's pounding.
That's probably me.
Oh, gotcha.
I knew you as Raton.
Then you probably knew me in a less pleasant point of my life.
Possibly. So you are not yet. You're not yet with an ancestor?
Not yet.
There is no symbiotic relationship within you yet?
Not yet.
And yet you seem uncomfortable in this body.
Because I am missing a part.
The right half of your brain. Oh.
Do explain.
Well, when you shall I put it, when you are designed to have two halves and one half is missing, I am not complete. I am not whole.
Was that half missing when you were in the Black Riage near Hidden Eresh?
I went in search of it there.
But did not find it?
Did not. Stumbled upon other things.
Worms?
That, among other things. And he kind of looks down at his cyber arm.
Do you know of the worms? What their purpose is? Or do they have a purpose?
Mostly to devour and destroy. They nearly ate me alive.
I wondered. Curious and curious and curious. First, I don't believe in gods, and they seem to be everywhere. Symbiotic relationships between people and ancients. Abhumans everywhere who seem perfectly fine. What else did you discover in your journey to here that possibly I haven't run across yet? And what led you here?
The memories of another. The calling of an ancient.
The
Or
ancients,
the calling of an ancestor, I guess I should
an
say.
ancestor. The ancestors, they are not gods, but as old as gods.
They are eternal, as far as I can tell. But yet I am not bound with one yet. He has called me here.
When you are bound with him, can you speak to me again?
Why, yes. It is a symbiotic relationship. I am me, And I will be him as well.
And this is something you freely choose.
Well,
This
yes.
isn't a result of what happened to you.
No. It was present before. Just in my moment of need, I seem to have confused many people.
Most certainly those at the Durkal. Things at the Durkal are not the same as they were.
Well, perhaps this will be a better place. He seems to be choosing his words carefully.
Carefully.
Very much like the others 4.
Evangeline's passive insight of 11 might not have picked up on that, but Rhonda's did.
He will say, I must go. He awaits me.
Do you know who he is? Or you won't know until he is with you.
I know who he is. That is why the name change.
What do you get out of this?
So,
Knowledge? Unity?
so you're ancient.
The joy of serving an ancient? An ancestor? Serving an ancestor?
Ancestor. So your ancestor would be Ross?
Yes. When combined.
Which are combined. If this is your choosing, far be it from me to stop you.
He will.
But I will wait if you don't mind.
You may wait. And he'll walk in with Tulad. The other 3 are still standing off to the side. Once the doors close, you will hear, the doors close on Tulad and Leah Ross. And you will hear a little thud. The Evangeline, you were kind of talking to them, so you weren't kind of really paying attention this way. But Fix, Kadeth, and Forsyth, you will notice Borgos kind of hit his knees. And he's kind of panting a little bit, like a lot of energy has been taken out of him at the moment.
Okay.
And
Look at him, and then I'm gonna look at the others and just say, "What's wrong with him? Does he need medical attention?"
no, Nashana kind of waves a little bit, and she says, no, he needs only rest. He will be fine soon enough.
So, you say you watch people. Do you do so through your own means, or were you using the orrery and its powers?
Nashana kind of looks at Borgos momentarily and looks back. She She says, we can do so of our own fruition. The energy provided by the orrery allows us to see further. Or the energy of the sphere. They won't call it the orrery. They'll call it
I
the
can't
sphere.
remember. Did we ask this last week? Why do you watch?
To see, to experience, to understand.
Why don't you do?
Seems odd to me that they would need a fifth. Why have more people just to sit and watch?
Population growth.
Population growth.
Well,
That's right.
the reality, you're watching for something. Are you watching to know when to act, or are you watching just for the sake of watching? That seems to me a bit,
Creepy.
well, creepy, anticlimactic, boring. If life is action, not to sit on the sidelines and let it all go by.
Well, you see a smirk. Well, actually, you probably hear a straight up giggle come from Zavakri. And Nashana kind of gives her a little sharp look. She says, we do more than simply watch.
Do explain.
Now Evangeline gives a little giggle with that no duh.
No duh. We have found that in our connections over the ages, that we ourselves are influencers.
Great, more
TikTokers.
influencers.
Right? TikTok.
I don't care how many followers you have. Okay?
0. We have 0 followers.
Good.
Influencers in what way?
In the same way a mother may lead their child.
Are you saying you believe that the people as a whole are your children?
I mean, we could look at it that way.
But we won't.
Not quite crossed our minds.
Not quite. So in some way it has.
In some way. In answer to your question, we watch to see if more of our ancestors may come.
From where?
From our home. Their home.
Evangeline giggles again. And where is that home?
Far across the astral sea. A distant plane.
Can you not return?
We can if we find a way. That's why we find and look for a 5th to join us, as there are 5 of us here.
and you will leave and go to this other plane distant across the astral sea? Or you will call them here?
No, we would call them here.
What if we don't want them here? What if we have enough? What if we don't have that kind of space?
We have too many people.
There are
Population
too many
control.
people. We must have population control. We're not accepting any more.
Well, how do we know that your intentions would be good in moving here? We have no way of knowing that. It's suspect at best.
No more of knowing your intentions for being here.
So you want
All right.
more of you here to sit around and watch and do nothing and be unproductive? Oh,
No.
excuse me, and influence?
No. Golly.
Now that eight's coming out.
It's out. Good heavens. Savakri kind of rolls her eyes. She says, seriously, there are only 5 of us here. 5 of us to see if it's safe for any others. Or to make it safe for the others. We do not.
So this is a scouting party.
So you can see right away how that would cause some potential disconcertion in our minds.
Yes, well, the way Cree has explained it to me. This world
Wait,
was
who has
once
explained it to you?
Cree.
Oh, Cree.
Cree.
I'm like, who's Cree?
That's an
Cree.
Cree Indian tribe up in Canada. Anyway.
Really. As Cree has explained it to me, when they first learned of this world was quite some time ago, even before we began watching. This was an elven world. Humans came, dwarves came. All of the races that you have now all came to this world. Why not us? Why not the ancestors?
Because the others did not require hosts to exist.
Intentions. That's the difference.
Let me ask you this. What happens if you determine this plane is wonderful and safe for your kind? Are you just going to take hosts by force?
No.
And what happens if people say no?
Then they will not have an ancient ancestor.
And what happens if there are too many ancestors that do not have hosts?
Then they will wait.
So
Look. Cree himself has only been on this world the last three ages.
Glad to finally meet you, Cree.
I find severe problems with this. You're telling us to believe that you have no ill intent. But the reality is, you're taking away people's free will by taking them over.
I am
People
very
don't-
much
People don't
Zabrina.
want that.
Zavakri says, I am very much Zavrina, and he is very much Cree. We just exist in the same body, hence Zavakri. Makes it easier. When we address each other, we are addressing both.
And what are the times when he has shushed you?
He has never shushed me.
I could swear that multiple times you were going to say something and something else weighed upon you not to.
I'm going to take out my crystal orb.
That is just okay. You take out your crystal orb. That is simply to prevent sharing information that maybe you shouldn't have. Cree doesn't know you.
Shushed.
Just the same as a mother would shush her child for speaking out of turn, or for, I don't know, I've seen the rulers of this world. If some peasant child runs up to the king with even a toy sword, do you think he would not be shushed?
So now you see us all as children to be shushed.
Oh, heavens mercy. Are they all this stubborn? her voice changes just slightly when that happens.
I wrote
This is the place for you.
insight check.
Okay.
20.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, you totally, when that voice slightly changed, you got a different person.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There's a control fight within. I will put that across the net, what I find.
What is your orb? What are you looking in your orb for?
Joe, everybody can see you're shopping.
Oh.
Yes, you cannot leave and do something else on your computer because they will almost always see it on the street.
Everybody loves to browse Amazon.
How dare you browse Amazon, not turn on your camera.
That was odd. I just clicked the link and it opened up in that window. I'm eating, which is why my camera's not on. So.
Any excuse. I think that you prevaricate somewhat.
What?
I don't think you're being totally honest with us. I think you're more interested in control than you are in a symbiotic relationship. And I don't think this is a good thing. And I think it best if you not bring others here for the same purpose. That's my opinion. What say the rest of you?
Evangeline is looking intently at her orb. I don't know what for, though.
When she gets centered on the orb, she will verbally say, Savers? Show me what you will. And I will focus in on, would you say her name was Zarina?
Zavina.
Zavarina.
I think it's what I said. Zavarina.
Okay.
Zavarina.
Focus in on her specifically. I got her right here. I know what she looks like. She just gave me your name.
That's true. That's true.
And I'm going to focus in and see what happens and where I go.
All right.
And you guys already know what I'm doing. You know I'm tracking someone.
She's tracking something.
Mud over all to the house.
Borgos is now sitting on the ground, and Borgos is watching you this time. He didn't move over to you, but he's kind of watching, seeing what you're doing. Curious. You see in that orb, you see a mom, a pregnant woman, kind of just tending to the house, chores, other children. She has several other children, like 3 or 4, and you see her husband come in and out, and it just looks like a farm family, in essence. And you follow that for a little bit. You watch her give birth to a young girl, baby girl, and when Dad kind of picks up the baby girl, you see in the orb, it doesn't seem like anybody else notices, but you see it in the orb. You see almost a spectral figure come from the mom and go to the baby. And you see it kind of just fall into the baby and kind of shrink to her size and goes down into the baby. You see she kind of glows just a little bit and then it dissipates. You flash forward. She's maybe 9 or 10. And she wakes up. It's nighttime. She wakes up screaming. And like mom runs in and you hear her kind of calling her name, Zavarina, Zavarina, getting her to come back a little bit. And when she comes back to her mom, you can tell that she's kind of upset. She seems to start describing a nightmare, that kind of thing. And mom says, you should ask Cree to keep you safe. And it opens up this conversation between the child and the mom about, they seem to be having a rather deep conversation about this symbiotic being, and how Cree can help her to keep her dreams safe, to keep her nighttime safe. He will provide her knowledge and understanding and all of these things, and eventually she goes back to sleep, and as time progresses you see her as a teenager, still being called Zavarina, and kind of helping mom with the farm and doing things with dad, and every so often you'll see her just stop dead, just freeze for a little bit, and then she'll pick back up and she'll go on. Not really sure what that entails. There's maybe an inner conversation that's happening. You're not really sure. But you kind of see the progression where she used to just straight up stop. Then you kind of flash forward a few years and okay, now you can see that she's maybe having that conversation, but she's still doing what she's doing. Like it's becoming more familiar, more comfortable. Um, and you can see how sometimes she'll start to do something and be fumbling with it, and then she'll have that moment where she'll have a conversation or something happens and she becomes more fluid at the action, whatever she was doing. It seems like she now knows what she's doing, or she now has a better understanding of how to do something, or something of that nature. It seems it's very much a cohesive type of thing. um, when she gets to be a young woman, close to the age that she is now, you see her come to this house, and you hear her introduce herself as Zavakri.
I'll drop the orb back in.
You now know who was born with it.
Just in general. But looking at, because I saw him looking at me, Borgos?
Yeah, Borgos.
Borgos. Excuse me, Borgos. So, what of children who don't have an option? They didn't get a say-so in whether or not they wanted this symbiotic relationship. It was thrust upon them. They learned to live with it. They adapted. They were told it was the right thing to do, but they didn't have the choice.
True.
Who made their choice?
There are in other realms, planes, where we have had symbiotic relationships. Typically, a ancestor will attach themselves to a family. any member of that family could potentially house the ancestor. And potentially, the ancestor could switch between family members. If a child is chosen, they don't usually come to even know that the ancestor exists until they are older. 10, 11 sometimes.
But it is still done without their permission.
True. And some ancestors have remained quiet their entire lives and move on to the next child.
But they are still there.
They are still there. They are internal. One lifespan, even that of an elf, is but a drop in the bucket to an ancestor. They do not mind to be patient and wait for one to accept.
You say it is symbiotic. It seems a bit more parasitic.
Suppose there is a need. The ancients, the ancestors, can only survive really without a host in their own plane. I mean, they can survive without a host here. He kind of motions to the house, just as Ross has waited for
So
many,
the house,
many years.
a dimension of the plane that you're from? And if the plane that the ancestors are from, they can exist in freely, why would they want to come here? What's wrong with their plane of existence?
There is a dark energy in their plane. You see Borgos kind of wait. He seems to be like communicating. And then he kind of just gives a little nod of his head, almost imperceptible, but you guys are kind of watching and listening, so you kind of see the little nod.
Yeah, we can do that too. We can
And-
talk to each other. But the
Yeah.
reality is, we still don't trust you.
The voice changes.
The voice
Insight check.
His voice changes.
of whom?
Of Borgos.
Borgos, okay.
Yeah, I didn't
His-
see anything.
His voice changes. Given how Zavakri kind of changed, I think you're all going to pick up that maybe the ancestor is kind of coming through now. The voice just slightly deepens, and he says, there is a dark energy at home.
Deal with it.
The 5 of us have not been home.
Maybe you ought to go
Since-
home and deal with that dark energy and not bring any of your negative energy here.
Well, none of the negative energy has come here. We have been here since your second age.
And this is supposed to give me a good feeling?
I think the point is they've been here for a long time, and it doesn't seem to have affected our world much that we know of.
But if they're talking
there are
about
5
bringing
of them.
more,
At all.
Yes. But to
if they're talking about bringing more, that bothers me.
And it did, and this did affect Ratan, Balin.
Yes.
It affected him.
Not
It
the
affected
negative
me.
energy.
It changed the whole course of my life.
The negative energy from my home world?
No, you being here has affected our world.
Across the link, I'm going to say, does anyone else feel like this taking these people down?
What I feel like is a straight answer.
You ain't going to get it from them.
What is this dark energy?
We do not know.
What is the name of your plane?
Oh gosh, you're gonna give. I gotta.
Ancient.
The ancient plane.
You have to be prepared as the GM for all of these weird questions.
Nonsense.
You
That's
sure it
why
wasn't
people
the
have name generators.
It was the aeroplane.
It's the aeroplane. That's right. I like that one. It's the aeroplane.
To my compatriot's point,
It's the plane of arrows.
this energy has not come here. Well, 5 of you have been here. But what happens when
All of you.
500, 5,000, 5 million of you are here?
That is a valid concern.
And you will simply leave our world to the darkness while you go look for a new home.
Vilcaris.
Spell.
Vilcaris. V as in victory, IL. KARIS.
Nestle.
ABCD.
LMNOP.
By your compatriot's naming convention, I assume your name is Ghost?
Indeed.
Over the link. So I assume we're all in agreement that we don't want them here?
That would be a good assumption.
About this time, you hear the doors open.
I look to the doors and then to Ghost and I say, "You are not welcome here. I suggest you return home and and inform your kind that this is not a safe space for you."
Very well.
I don't think they're going to take that very well. But I'll say across the link, I'm ready to go.
Over the link, I'm ready to go as soon as they're gone.
Oh, no, I'm ready to go at them.
Oh, yes. 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 Gotcha.
You can see Tulad and Leros now walking out. Leros is now walking without any stumbles, any disjointedness. And he walks out, and Borgos looks at him. Well, Ghost looks at him. And you can tell they're communicating. Leros will step forward and say, "We can leave. Not from here."
From where?
We will have to leave from Siamum. But do be mindful that had we not been here, during the Third Age, there would be much more destruction upon this land.
All well and good, but I think those that inhabit the land in this age are ready to take it forward without your help.
Okay, Chuck, I know you wrote this down. What did Tetra say?
Well, it's also in Discord.
That's true. It is also in the general, the open general.
Across the land, devastation spreads. Second to be the city of four heads. Shield the land by Ori's old. Activate one and into the fold. Hey, look, we got four heads here.
There's 5.
We can remove one.
We'll make it 4. We'll force it to fit the prophecy.
Willingly. I, for some reason, don't trust them.
I'm not sure.
Leoros will kind of shake his head, kind of smile a little bit.
I will turn to speak towards Ross.
Okay.
Ross.
All right.
And I will address Ross.
Okay.
Bringing more of your ancestors here may be bad for both our worlds. You need more information on what this darkness is.
And I am sure our people are working on that.
But you have no information on it currently.
I do not.
So how could you trust what you don't know?
I do not trust what I don't know.
Well, my suggestion is you find out before you make any decision. You need to go back and search down the information that you don't have.
If you don't know what this darkness is, and you haven't been there to know, and this world would have been much worse off without you here, we can't even truly trust that the reason our world was destroyed in ancient times wasn't caused by whatever you brought with you.
Of that, I am sure. I was there.
Tell me.
I was once known as Kuros.
Kuros?
I aided those in Shaji. It's been many years ago. And having been without a host for at least 3 ages, memory is a little lacking.
Did you aid Saji
I did aid Saji.
into getting to the astral plane?
I aided Saji in creating the orreries.
Fine work.
Thank you.
I've seen your schematics.
Thank you. We had help. It was
Were
after
Go ahead.
we activated the orreries They were working fairly well and had stopped some attacks upon the land. Then something happened in Saji. It was there, and then it wasn't. It sent a some kind of energy backlash across the network, which caused many problems.
You were here. Do you know what was attacking the land? What was causing the attack on the land?
Supernatural. Supernatural beings, probably as old as ourselves.
Gods, titans.
Many in this land would probably call them gods.
Are they related to the darkness that your
Not-
world currently goes through?
Not that I am aware of.
Not that you're aware of. Again, lack of information.
Yes.
You're focused here. I think you need to focus there first.
I have been here since the Second Age.
Maybe you need to go back and find out what's going wrong there before you start to bring something here.
It is possible that I could go back and find out we are the last 5.
Tell me, any names associated with these supernatural?
Velsharoon, Shar. What are some of the other ones? He kind of pauses a moment. He seems to be
Well,
talking
right
a little
off
bit.
the bat with Velsharoon,
Cyric,
I start lacking confidence in your understanding of things.
Ilsanine, Beshaba.
That's like a melon, right? Oh, that's cassava. Never mind.
Aril. Seems their sole purpose was just to annihilate.
Yeah. Sounds about right for them.
I'm going to do my massive insight check.
Do your massive insight check. Your whopping 11. Well, I don't know.
Dang it. I rolled an 11, so I might have got a 12. I got a 12.
I will say that he's very confident in his recollection of knowledge. He does pause, and you recognize, like all of you will see this. He seems very confident in his recalling of knowledge. Gosh, yes, English is hard, and it's my first language. So he seems very confident in that, and there are pauses sometimes that you guys will recognize. He's communicating with the other 4 probably to help on that recollection. And you also realize that when he's mentioning these names that you associate as gods, they're just other supernatural ancient beings to him. Like, he does not acknowledge gods. Yeah.
Referent. Like, now I'm having issues with words.
It's contagious.
Reverence. There's no reverence.
Yeah, there's no real reverence. Yeah.
Do you understand our concern with your kind being here and coming here?
I can definitely understand the concern of conquest. I have seen many war. but we are not a conquesting people. Are there ancestors among us that have ill will? Sure. Just like there are ancestors among us that would rather die than inhabit another, which they may have already done.
Across the link, we may have a bigger problem, or we may not have a problem at all, but something to ponder. He is mentioning the names of gods, which we have, I guess, encountered. Some of them for sure. Is our quest for the gods in direct conflict with the ancestors being here? They were obviously here at the first. They're still here. There's obviously no recognition of godhood. I'm not one to just go around and just kill a bunch of people just for the heck of it. But have we found ourselves in a conundrum? What if what they say is true and they have no idea if there's more of their kind or not? If there are no more of their kind, would we send them back just because they're not like us?
I don't care that they're not like us. I care that they take people's free will.
Determined that they actually take people's free will.
What's that?
Have we truly determined that they take people's free will?
We have not.
That's
They
my
inhabited a
that's my
child
problem with.
without permission.
Okay, but
I share
Here-
the
here-
vision.
here's my thing.
Okay, you'd share the vision of the
Yeah.
leaving the mom and the
Yeah.
mom talking to the child and sharing and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Here's my thought with it, because it feels like Fix and Forsyth, both of you, are like jumping to automatically. These guys are evil. We need to get rid of them.
No,
I don't think they've
no
jumped
issue
quite
until
that far.
Well, Forsyth was ready to fight them,
Well, that's true.
well,
but
it's also Ruig.
Ruig?
Druid. A
Oh,
roguish
druid.
druid.
That's true.
He's ruined. There's no hope for him.
Druid.
Druid.
What? Could happen.
so they are they willing to let someone go who doesn't wish to be with one of them anymore? Because if so, then no, there is no compulsion at that point. It's just they may start a process, but if they're willing to let them go,
Based on what they say, if a person is not open to their being there, they stay dormant within them, but they are still within them.
right,
Until they find a new host.
right, and then they move on, right?
And then they move on.
That's the impression.
Well, let's
Which could be why he passed from the mother to the child to begin with. You don't know.
I don't know. What I saw, though, was an awakening of the
See, English is
Ancestor.
hard.
an
That proves my
awakening
point.
of the ancestor in the child. with the explanation of the mother, the comforting of the child, and the child learning and excelling from the symbiotic relationship. I will turn and look at Leoros,
who is currently the ancestor, because you called him out.
No, I'm just turning and looking at him. Ratan, I know you prefer to be addressed as Leoros, but right now, I wish to talk to Ratan.
You kind of see him twitch just a little bit. Yes.
Sounds like his voice. How are you feeling now?
Whole.
Okay.
Complete.
Content?
Content.
Happy?
Happy. Much clarity. And understanding.
I have had the ability to address each of you, each of your halves, separately,
Yes.
together, Leoros. What is your next step? What do you desire to do next?
Well, the intention was to continue to watch. We have not determined if this is a viable world or not, or a world that we could be accepted in readily. Given this conversation, we're not sure about that. Of course, given this conversation, we find that we may find ourselves back home soon. And us with the ancients, with the ancestors.
I'm going to address for everybody. We have seen Ratan become Leoros in the Dirk Hall. We have seen Leoros here become joined to his ancestor. Willingly, freely, and under no compulsion. I have seen Zavarina, is that right? I have seen Zavarina as an infant become conjoined with Cree. I have seen events in her life that seem to be evident that even though she was an infant and couldn't choose, she did come to an understanding and chose to stay to what seemed to be her delight.
But if you get a child addicted to drugs before they're an adult, do they really have a choice in that addiction?
I find that not that far off of a comment coming from you, Fix. Seeing her doting parents, they did not get her addicted to drugs, so to speak.
But they did if it was accepted merely because that is all that she knew.
Wait, you're having this conversation telepathically, aren't you?
No.
No, you're having this openly? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Zavakri will kind of step forward and say, what would affirm to you that I have wholly accepted Cree? Would it be beneficial if Cree were to leave for a time?
No.
May I ask a clarifying question of what I saw?
I mean, then you would be able to see me, Zavarina, without Cree.
Those times that you faltered as you grew and you stopped, was Cree using you, or were you using Cree as a source of knowledge, growth, and learning?
Mostly, Cree was teaching me something. It's not like he joined me and I had all of this knowledge from ancients past. I still don't have half the knowledge of Borgos, because Cree chooses not to share. Young minds and all.
The benefit is not in question. Obviously, access to this knowledge is beneficial. My issue is solely that no choice was given to begin the process, to begin the relationship.
I mean, it is true I was born with Cree. He did not make himself known until I was older. I had no knowledge of his presence.
What of the other three? Borgos, Nashana, Tulad? Did you make a choice, or were you born with it?
Borgos will say, I made my choice. Nashana also will say, I made my choice. Tulad kind of twitches just a little bit. Tulad comes forward and says, I was once known as Tulak. Ours was a bonding of necessity. If I had the option to do it again. It was not, if it had not been out of necessity, I'll say that, I would not have made the choice. But if I had it to do again with the knowledge that I have now, I would have chosen.
Whose necessity?
Ours. We were attacked by some kind of psionic. I was with a group of people. The entire company had been killed, except for myself, barely hanging on, going a bit crazy. And I saw Lad come up out of one of the company members and join with me. I had no option to fight it off. I was weak and a little delirious. He came to me, and much like a lifeline, I grabbed a hold. I was drowning. I was dying, and I knew it. It was Lad that saved me.
At that point, it was either join and live or stay apart and die.
Exactly.
What has been done is done. Your situation is its own and obviously beneficial to both of you. But as you had said, there are those of your kind that are not benevolent.
True.
Those of your kind that share your ability and would not have any restraint on who they inhabit.
There are some.
How do you communicate? Not with each other.
With home?
We've seen how you communicate. We know how you communicate with each other here. But with home, yes.
We have not communicated with home since the Third Age.
So as of this point, can you get home?
Like I said, we would have to go through Siamum and
Because
see.
you can teleport between planes. If more of your kind teleported here, would you know?
It would have to be through Siamum, which I've sensed only recently the orrery has come back online there. So I can't imagine many, if any, have made it through. They are waiting for our response, for our results of our watching.
Should maybe others come through, should they come through, they would have to take hosts immediately, right? Or
Rather quickly.
Relatively quickly.
Which is part of the reason I do not believe they would come through without us saying something. They would need to have willing and ready hosts.
Should a life-threatening event be happening in your plane of existence that forced them here, would you know that they are here, or would they have to communicate with you? Alex is home, sorry.
Oh gosh. They could come through on their own. We would not have to do anything to aid them to come through on their own. But like any other peoples, we have governance, we have leaders, we have rulers. Ross comes forward out of Leah Ross again, and it's like, elders. We call them elders. They would not prevent any, or they would prevent any who would come through of their own fruition.
So those that would be possibly coming through would probably be those that weren't benevolent to begin with.
Possibly, if they sneak through beyond the elders.
And if you are watching,
Oh, if we are watching, we will find them.
and you're not quite sure you've made up your mind on our world,
Not yet. Maybe 4 or 5 more generations before we come to that conclusion. We are seeing change. To some degree, we are aiding in that.
perhaps you're watching for knowledge. Could become a watching. For those who may come through without
Permission.
permission.
Sure, we can become watchers. I mean, it's what we're doing already. Or we can go home.
1976.
You want to
Especially-
go home.
Sensing that.
Yeah, opt for the going home part.
There is
Do
a
you
piece of
want-
us that there is a piece of us that want to go home. We have been here for many years.
I think you've lost the bubble.
But
I
all
think-
of us are concerned with what we may find. Being we have not been in communication with them.
But
They
might
have
you
not
be
been
the
in communication with us.
might you be the fix to whatever's going wrong there?
Now that the orrery is up and running, can you communicate?
Possibly.
Is it a bi-directional communicational?
It should be. It would be from Siamam. We would have to travel. So go home or communicate. It sounds like we. And he kind of, Leah Ross looks at the other 4. Whatever the decision, looks like we are traveling to Siamam.
Over the link, we have a lot on our plate right now. Do we want to add an extra heap of these mashed potatoes?
No,
Kadesh says hard pass.
No,
but
I
So
think we
you-
need to
You
learn
just
to trust
run
people to
them out.
do what they need to do.
to just run them out because they're different from us
Yeah,
Okay,
makes
so
us
never-
no
that's not a-
different.
and they're just trying to survive, just like we are.
It makes us no different from our elders who ran
And I have-
those who they didn't like
I've
to the
got no
beyond.
issues with them being different. I have
There's-
issue with them taking people without
There's
giving
no
them their
evidence.
free will. There is plenty of evidence.
There's no
provided.
evidence. Mm,
They inhabit a child
Yeah.
who cannot give consent just because at some other point after being shown the benefits or experiencing the benefits of it, made a choice to remain so, does not mean that the original lack of consent has disappeared.
I think you're taking too harsh a stand on this
And
one.
they themselves stated that there are those of their kind that are not as benevolent and would do as they please. I don't want us to open our doors to those as well.
We seem to have that same issue right here in our small group. That differencing of opinions and thoughts and interpretations can lead to that. But if they're willing to watch the gate,
Yes, I have no issue with them remaining. I think that it is best if they stay and watch rather than leave or communicate back.
But then what would be the purpose of their watching?
To tell us if any of their kind do come over surreptitiously.
so we would block the whole for the sins of the few.
Judge the society for a few criminals.
Based on what they've said, we have no evidence that they are being truthful.
But
They
we don't
lied
have
to us.
evidence
Group?
that they're lying either.
How about
But
judge
they
the
did.
group because one has sticky fingers?
But they have lied.
Which one's that?
We have one who stole.
Who has a
Does that
halo?
mean all of us are thieves and should be kept?
Who's
and should be
wearing
put
a
in prison?
crown?
And we have one who's self-righteous, but that doesn't mean all of us are.
And if the guards were to catch him doing so, we would all be there to help him. So yes, his crimes are ours as well.
And since when have I been caught?
That's why I said if.
Other than by
I was to say I caught you. What are you talking about?
maybe I let you
He has
catch
caught
me.
you before. You were younger then. You weren't as experienced.
Did not have the same wisdom that I have today.
Your skill level has improved.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I got my candle back.
Yeah. When was the last time I actually took anything that didn't belong to me? Afterwards, but
Retroactively.
Honestly, I think it has been a little while.
and now it's actually easier to do, and I don't even
I
do
know,
it.
and you don't even do it. It's that thrill of the possibility of getting caught, you see. Now you don't think you'll get caught, so what's the point of doing it to begin with?
Yeah. It's like the thrill of the chase.
I think for myself, being human, growing up, being the accepted, never having to worry, never being concerned. I've seen other things in our world. Who are we to pass judgment?
On who they are, no one. But on what they've done, that is well within our right.
They do not live in our world.
These five do, and have lied.
Do they live in our world?
I point to them.
They exist in our world. Do they live in our world?
They do not live
for
in
the
our world.
time being.
We did
They-
not even know that they were here until
they
this
still-
morning.
Based on their own statements, they have still influenced this world.
That is true.
Oh, we.
And we never said that we didn't.
Can you guarantee all of our influences have been for the better?
All of our
Verdicts.
influences have been in the attempt to do better here.
Okay.
Their influences have been, based on their statement, to shape this world to be better for their kind. To invade.
So they're doing the same thing we're doing.
If we were going to another world and doing so in the
But we're
intent
trying to
bring
shape the
us
world to
there,
be better for our kind.
our world. If they were on their world shaping their world to be better for their kind, then
But my
there'd be
world,
no conversation.
was key.
Your city was key.
That was my world. I knew no different except for thrice.
But you knew that they were connected to other places in this world.
But we went too far beyond.
Which
To
would be
me,
part
that
of this
was
world.
not my world.
It was the world of the people that live on this plane.
To me, they were not
Yes.
people.
Whether or not you
Oh.
saw them as such or not, they still were.
To me, they were not people.
That's true. To the order of truth. Although
were
Farbron
nothing.
was more human. Niliesh, that was very true.
Nihiliesh.
And you have since come to believe differently. I have no
So
problem with the fact that they are different, and I feel that your previous views on those that are different than you may be clouding how you see what I am taking issue with. Not that they are
Possibly.
different, but what they are done. What they have done, what they
there
have
are 5 of
admitted
them.
to
What they have done, what you're perceiving they have done is in one. Who of her own speaking from an
Agreed
early age
after
was
the
okay
fact.
with it.
after the fact. They also
Wait,
lied about it.
Are we having an open conversation or is all this telepathic?
This part is telepathic.
Okay.
Because when you were a child, your mother didn't want you part of her world.
Yes.
She shipped you off.
I didn't want part of my mother's world.
He shipped
Yeah.
himself off.
When I
Just
was
screw
young,
this. Stamp myself. I'm leaving.
We're not
I did
discussing-
not fit in my father's world, and my father shipped me off.
But there's a difference between individual worlds and literal worlds. They have admitted to the fact that they themselves have taken hosts without consent. They lied to us about it originally, stating when I asked them that it was necessary due to the mother dying, which your vision showed differently. They also admit that there are those of their kind that would not have any qualms with doing these things.
So what should we do with them, in your opinion?
Like I said, right now we have way too much on our plate to deal with this. I think for now we ask them to keep watch. They have no intent to, based on what they've said, to bring their kind here just yet. So once we
But
get
they
everything,
before,
yes, and
by
we
your
get
own words.
yes, and we would have to take a leap of faith, but it is the best choice of the three that we have.
Least
I think I
lowest
prefer
risk.
to take my leap of faith in the other direction. But either
Which
way,
direction
it
is
gets
that?
us going in the same place.
Which direction is that? To open the doors and tell them
Yeah.
welcome.
To give them opportunity.
What opportunity that they have not had in the ages that they've been here.
To live.
They may
Possibly
live.
find others of their kind. Possibly to
Here?
return home.
If they wish to return home, no one's stopping them.
Don't you think it would be fair to let them have the opportunity to see if the darkness is gone from their home?
If they wish to return home, I've got no issue with that. My issue is for them to bring others.
I think we might have to agree to disagree.
You will.
On this topic.
You will see as you guys are kind of communicating with each other. You will see Borgos and Tulad go into the house.
They got tired of us staring at each other.
Uh-huh. Like we got things to do.
They recognize telepathic communication.
Uh-huh. Like they are having a serious conversation going on here, and we'll just
Let's give them a moment.
just give them a moment. Zavakri is watching you guys, like just totally like engrossed. You're pretty sure she can't hear you,
I'm not so sure about that.
but there's a way she's watching. Maybe? But the others are just kind of twiddling their thumbs and like, oh, okay. Leah Ross seems to just be standing there, like just waiting. You can see that Leah Ross is probably actually the eldest.
I got that from the very beginning.
As far as an internal being can be older, he is actually probably would be considered an elder in their home world. You kind of get that impression from him. So he's just standing there. He's just waiting.
It is in my definite opinion that when we got here, they told us things that they wanted us to know. They wanted us to hear, or what they thought we wanted to hear, because they weren't expecting us. They did not see us coming. They did not know why we were here. But I think in having distinct conversation with individuals, may have opened them up a little bit. They've been here for millennia, and nobody seems to know that they are here. They've watched. All of a sudden, people they weren't expecting popped in to their tiny little world, woke them up, and started drilling them with questions.
They definitely are not prepared to answer.
Well, doesn't mean you lie.
We've done our fair share of lying.
I haven't.
You went along with the lie. You didn't correct it. A lie of omission is still a lie. It's still a lie.
I have not lied. Nothing I have said has never been untruthful.
But you didn't state the truth.
Nothing I have said has been untruthful. I have not lied.
story, and he's sticking to it.
Potatoes.
Even when I have deceived, nothing I stated was a lie.
That's true. The best deceptions are actually rooted in truth.
Some people would consider you're hiding your identity as a lie. Just because the words don't come out of your mouth.
But I've not hidden my identity from anybody who has asked.
Maybe
Do I need
not.
to go out and announce it?
I'm going to look at the door.
Okay.
Because what's his name? Tulad and
Borgos
went in.
went in. The door is open.
And I'm going to look at Leoros and go and ask. I'm going to ask him, Leoros, is Borgos okay?
He will be. He needs rest.
Perhaps the stress of us being here is not so good for him.
He has gone inside.
It must be strange to have been here for so long. And all of a sudden, people who you can't really see, except for at a distance, to pop up on your doorstep.
It is interesting. I mean, I have been filled in by the others. I came after you, of course. Well, I was joined after you arrived.
Yes. I can only guess that you are possibly aware of what was going on before Rattan got here.
Yes. It is interesting. When we watch those that are at a distance or have some sort of protection, obviously we move beyond those and do not spend much time with those. Like straining your eyes to see the bird on the mountains. It is not efficient.
Well, I am sure our protection comes from places that you might be familiar with. And I'll list off some of the gods that we're doing the cards for.
Yep. So those sound familiar.
Except for I won't list the Raven Queen.
Okay.
Because she's a new god. A newer god.
Fairly, comparatively. She a baby, comparatively. She's kind of like Zavachry.
She's a mere babe.
Yep. The names are familiar. It is only safe to assume that just as there were those of great evil intent set upon destroying this world, I'm sure that they too had counterparts who were benevolent and kind and wished not to see the destruction of this world. And I do believe you listed some of their names.
I certainly hope so. I personally only recently, well, believed that there were the gods or ancient beings or ancestors or whatever y'all want to call yourself.
You feel free to stick to your terminology. They are the gods for you. You may continue to call them the gods. Do not let my seemingly endless life change that.
Our current mission is to get all of the orreries up and running again. I'm going to assume that that is something that, since you were a part of at the beginning, that you are not against happening.
Absolutely not.
Unfortunately, we are not going to be going to see a mom right away because it's already running.
True.
Watch. Make sure none of you are sneaking through uninvited.
This is a new option. You wish for us to continue to watch.
Continue to watch. Don't invade. If all
Watch
you're
to
doing
benefit
is
both
seeking
worlds.
knowledge, gathering information, I myself do that. As Zavachary can attest to.
She says, yes, she has a really cool book. I mean, little jealous. I want a cool book.
Well, and you will have to wait.
Well, should you vacate that role, please consider me.
You have an uncanny ability to see much further than I can see.
What was the one's name that could see the book?
Zavachary, the youngest.
Okay.
The one that was born with it.
We got the feeling she might be able to hear our conversation.
You get the feeling she might be able to hear the conversation.
Out of nowhere, over the link, Fix is just gonna not yell, but say her name at a sort of raised tone. And watch her.
She will respond like she heard something in like the distance almost. Kind of like, tilting the head just a little bit.
I will tell her.
I'll smirk.
She'll raise an eyebrow.
But over the link, say, and keep private conversations to yourself.
She'll give you a little nod.
And then I will look at her and point to the book and say, by the way, my god is Denier.
Very well.
You might want to look him up.
I will do so. Cree will fill me in with what he knows. And then, I'm sure Ross will fill me in with the rest.
Question: when you are in these forms, do you maintain your... Obviously, if you are immortal, you would have some level of ability. Do these forms mute that ability? Or are you simply what we would consider God standing amongst us?
Oh, well. Maybe some of you would consider us gods, but me, Zavarina, have always had certain abilities, even as a child. Caused a lot of sleepless nights. Cree came in, and when I first asked Cree for help, He first muted those abilities and then taught me how to control them. He now can actually, with my control, he can enhance if I ask him to.
So you're a seer.
I mean, I do watch.
But can you see that which has yet to be?
I've had glimpses before, but nothing solid.
Did the ancients choose their host based on their host's ability or potential?
She'll kind of look to Nashana and to Leros because they're out there.
And this was
She's
said
like,
out loud, so they would have heard.
yeah. She said, I cannot answer for them, but Cree has been with my family for at least 5 generations. My mother's father, his mother, and her mother have all held Cree. This was not a choosing per se of let me choose the best mortal. He stayed with the family.
He bonded with the family.
Yes. Nashana kind of, well, you already know Tulad's was out of necessity. It was not it was circumstantial.
Right.
Anna chose, I think Anna chose me out of pity, to be fair. I was struggling and not in a good place in my own life. And she came to me in one of my dreams. And I bonded with her.
Understood.
Leoros is Rose. You hear Rose. He's I chose Raton while still in my previous host.
What drew you to Rotan?
He has a thirst for adventure, for knowledge, for understanding. The curiosity within him nearly killed him before I had a chance to get to him.
I think perhaps in another time, that curiosity and that quest for knowledge, that thirst for knowledge, we could be good friends.
I look forward to it. But we will remain here, if that is your wish. I do not wish to cause further issue than your knowledge that we are even here. Have we been in the world? Yes. Have we lived with our hosts? Yes. Have we lived with their families? Yes. But we have come here over the last 3 ages. To watch. And we will continue to watch.
We will be watching too.
Leiros will kind of look at Zavakri. You see kind of a conversation going between them. And Zavakri kind of shakes her head. And she vocalizes. She says, I have no doubt in their ability to do so.
I agree. I make a great shepherd's pie.
Not as good as mine. So fix.
Yes.
Temporary satisfaction.
Don't know if it's satisfying, but temporary
Temporarily
agreement.
acceptable then.
Yes.
I'm gonna look at Forsyth.
Can you claws away?
Would have been fun.
I think
It would have been fun.
I think we have fish to fry in other places.
Yes, we do. Still don't trust them.
Well,
Fair enough.
you will find us here. Should you have further questions.
Stop it. Now, how do we
Yep.
get off of this rock?
You're already off the rock. You can just go down the path.
Okay.
And where do we think that path would take us?
To the ground.
Well, it will take you further to the ground. We are a bit high. We're on the edge of a cliff here.
I'm talking from philosophic, out of character.
Oh. Yes,
I'm not
'cause
gonna
we
ask
haven't even
them.
taken a break, and it's 9 o'clock. I was like, okay,
I
we'll
know.
take a break right after this, and then he kept going. I was like,
Well, it was fairly complicated scenario.
it
Well,
was.
it was complicated, and there's a kind of a party disagreement on it.
A little
And
bit.
that's okay.
But
That's
we
not the
wanted
first
to
time, and it won't be the last.
disagree. That's true. It's not the first time, and it probably will not be the last.
Where do you guys want to go from here?
Mm,
What's the
we have
next
to look at
orrery?
the map.
Yeah. Of
the
course, I have it open the whole time, and then once I, go away from it, is when we use it.
That's when you use it. Yeah.
So are we near Hidden Naresh or
You were
something?
down here.
Which we can now turn this green.
Oh, okay, we're down
Yep,
there. Okay, no
That
problem.
that has been.
Citadel of the Iron Sea, Idris Elba.
The next one close.
Ah,
Well, there's two. There's either Rakar or the Twisted Spire.
That sounds fun.
That one way out there.
I said that we go ahead to the Twisted Spire, but we're getting there is half the
there
fun.
Yeah, getting there is half the fun. You
The
Kadeth.
only
Get out.
keep. Do you have your list of teleportation circles?
Yeah, give me a second.
Was that one that he had?
I don't know if it was Varus or Vibar or Astaria.
Questland. or-
Here's the ones that I have. I've got Key, Thrice, Glavis.
I don't even remember where
Oh.
Glavis is.
I'm not
Not
sure.
over here though.
No,
We're
it's not
looking
over
for
here.
the ones over here.
Are we looking south?
Astaria, Hayrest,
East corner.
Vibar, or
Yeah, down
Questland?
here.
Osper, Nabalic, Yashul, White Lake, Sanctuary of the Eye, rumored for Charman, Picala, Astaria,
Okay. That's
Astaria
one-
would get
yeah.
us onto the right part of the
partial
continent.
for Sada Amidu.
Okay.
I
But-
think
Let's go to
Sada
a s-
Nidu is up in
But
the
that's a
jungle.
rumored one. I don't have it.
Right.
This is a rumored. So
From Osiris, we can, or Astaria, excuse me, we can make our way across ground or by cloud.
Although I
to-
can get us to Nabalach, which is here.
which is here.
Yeah, I think
Which
that we
you
need to be
can
on the other
also
side of
cloud
the
walk
water.
that far.
Yeah, but I'd prefer not to cloud walk across water.
Yeah.
Ah,
Cloud
no,
walk down.
I think you should end up over here in the middle of Sir Marika
that's-
while you lose your cloud form.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You could do some real diving.
What if we went here?
High
Or
diving.
even up, like went around here to cross this?
Well, he said that he has Astaria.
I said
He has-
Where's
I have a
Astaria?
rumored one there.
Oh,
I
really?
He
There's
has
a
a
I don't
rumored
have
one
one.
there. We could try it and see if it actually takes us there.
Well, no, I don't
Yeah.
have the. It's rumored that there is one, not that I have the thing.
Okay, that there is
Ah.
one.
I don't
Okay.
have the thing for it.
So
I
if
just,
he
You have-
gets there and sees it, he can use it
Right.
to get back. And
Do you
things
have
like that,
Lahark?
but he doesn't have any of
No.
these.
No.
So I think
Okay.
we got to go the long way if we're going to know that way.
we have a
If
couple
we stay
options.
along the southern wall,
Right. We can try to
and
cross here.
we're crossing a narrows there, and we could easily cross that in
Yeah,
one
you could easily cross that with
cloud. We could cloud
one
walk
cloud
across
walk.
that.
Easily. Other option is we
We could also check the southern wall to see if it's melting.
Or we could go to either Key or home and see if one of our contacts has a teleportation circle to the bar.
or even if somebody can confirm Astaria.
Yes,
Yeah.
that too. So if
Key
we
is
went to,
real close to Rakar, so we could take care of that one if we went home.
okay, why don't we do that then?
You
We
could
do
start
Key.
working this direction instead.
Go to Key.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
we
can
can do
just
that.
ask on our way.
We can do that through the plants,
Right.
and then we can get to Ricard from there. And while we're in Key, we can ask about
Hit
transporting
Dawn,
to the
Amber
bar
Monolith.
or Astaria.
And then
Yeah.
when
The
we're ready to
best-
go over to Benalera, we can hit. I can get us to White Lake.
Yeah. So
Where's
can
Benalera?
Forsyth technically
Ah.
Oh, this one.
over here.
Oh yeah, I get you to White Lake.
We've got. I think the only one that we will have difficulty with is going to be the Twisted Spire.
Right.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
let's see what we can do with our contacts.
get all the rest of them.
You do know that the best library in all of the land, well, to your best of knowledge, the best library in all of the land is the University Library in Key.
Right.
And we also have
wanna-
I
contacts
haven't
there.
had a hard. I haven't in the past had a hard time getting access to. As long as we repaired it good enough after the fireball.
Well,
I'd imagine you can get access to it now.
your friend probably did that for you.
Nice to have
maybe-
good friends.
Maybe I'll find a list to be able to get a bunch of other ones to add to my list.
Maybe.
Nothing wrong with that.
And you'll
If
have
we
your
would have
book of
done
teleportation
that
circles
room
in
at
an
the
inside
library while we
pocket.
were still there, but we didn't know.
He's gonna get a Rolodex of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'll have a Rolodex. It'll be just teleportation circles.
Yeah.
Let's see. That would be under G. There it is.
So to Key it is.
Yeah.
Key.
To Key?
and
Again, home again. Jiggity
Home
Home
jig.
again, home again.
Oh.
Jiggity jig.
Tequila, la la la.
Tiki, tiki. All right.
Once, thrice.
There are lots of plants in this courtyard. It's very beautiful. There's
And
plenty
I've been there before.
well, and there's plenty of plants here that you are now familiar with, that you've been watching and looking at. And you're going to jump through if you want to do it via plant.
Yeah. That's the easiest way, quickest, simplest.
So you will be able to jump back here too when you need to. From
Right. I
plants.
will study them and learn the differences.
Yeah. So you go to like the biggest plant there and you begin to work your magic, and Zavachry is like watching. You can tell that she's
wants
young.
to
Everything is very curious to her. Everything is like a new experience, you know. Like she's young. You
She's
can tell
tired
that she
of
is young.
sitting on that rock, just staring.
We're almost done.
See what you miss out on by not getting involved in the world.
Yep. And anyway, so she's watching, and Leoros will bid you farewell and say, "We will remain here, watching." And gives you just that
We will one day return.
third level of assurance, and you go through the plant. You arrive at I'm assuming the Trinson estate. Those are generally the plants you show up at.
That's the easiest and probably the smartest because it's hidden from everyone else.
Yeah. So you arrive at the Trinson estate. You see one of the Jennifers out there picking herbs out of the garden. She kind of startles as you come through the plants, and she stands up and kind of gives you a little bow and sees Fix and says, "Lord Kofik, you have returned. Is there anything you wish for me to prepare or do?"
I think he wants shepherd's pie.
I'll
just gonna walk away.
I think it wise to cross our purposes here. Go ahead and spend the night, but before we even get there, go ahead and get to the library and research.
Very well.
While the Jennifers go ahead and make us a meal fit for a king. Here, king.
Right. She kind of shoves some herbs down into the basket, and she goes over to the garden and picks some vegetables and things like that. And you see her go toward the back of the house while you guys walk in. Philaethus is there.
Hello, fillet fish.
I will say, welcome back.
He doesn't respond.
At this point, I'm getting used to it. I just talk to him. It's like listening to one side of a conversation on the telephone.
Conversation.
What a stuffed shirt.
You head into the house. You kind of check on some things and whatnot. Vineth comes from upstairs. He comes downstairs. He says, "Ha, Kofik, you're home." How did things change so rapidly? I should just be making fun of you, but yet here I am. Just so you know, it's well underway. Weirfall will probably be yours by the end of the month.
The whole city?
Ours.
Sorry, Castle Aventur, not Weirfall. Sorry, my bad. Castle Aventur. Well, ours. Do I need to add more names?
It was put under the Trinson estate, correct?
Well, that is true, but since Mother passed on
is still within the family.
Very well. I'll make sure it says property of Trinston estate. So that way.
Lower taxes, of course.
Well, okay. Sure. It falls under Weirfall's district, so it's not key.
And that gives him that look from a brother that says, "I'm gonna punch you in the throat."
Punch you in the throat. You're gonna get a throat punch. I'm short sheeting your bed. Wait, it won't make a difference. You're short already. He says, "Very well, fine." He said, "Father is home. You might want to stop by in this study."
Thank you. Fix actually turns and goes, like, starts heading towards the study.
All right. You go into the study and you see when you walk in, and anybody who follows or whatever else you guys might be doing, as you see as you walk in, your father is in just casual, tunic, and whatnot. He's not like fully presentable like he has been before. He is got a fresh scar down one of his arms. Pretty prevalent. It's still pink. It's like it is fresh. And he's not using that arm really. You notice almost immediately as he stands up and says, "Kofik," he kind of just lets it fall a little bit. And he says, "Kofik, come, give me a hug."
I give him a hug and I make sure that I don't, squeeze the injured arm.
All right. He gives you a one-armed hug. And
Do I
he
need
says,
to ask Forsyth to take a look at that for you?
"Oh no, it's mostly healed now. It's just a matter of using it again."
Care to tell me what happened?
I was aiding some people out of Uxven.
God, at that place.
They are safe now. It was harrowing at first, but they are good now.
Very well.
I may be called upon from time to time. I won't be here possibly as often as I have been in the past.
Called upon by whom?
By Tyr.
Fix gets a smile. I'm glad to hear it.
It is glad. I am glad to have returned. Your mother, of course, is still in Yashul. She might be there for a while.
I figured. Seems a bit of a complicated situation.
Dragons, I hear. I'm not fighting dragons, but it's fine.
They're not
Or
all that
fighting
tough.
with dragons. I mean, come on.
No, they're not all that tough.
Easier to fight against than with.
Yeah, that is fair.
Which Fix at this point still has the armor on. It has the dragon scales.
Yes, the dragon scales. Yeah. Oh. Have you told him you fought a dragon? I don't
No,
think you
he
have.
hasn't. No, he might have heard it elsewhere, but Fix hadn't told him.
Yeah, he'll totally chat with you about the dragon.
Yeah.
And learn about your exploits in killing a dragon.
He'll take some time and just chat and give him the update. Probably spend a decent amount of time gushing about Zybella.
When he starts talking about Zybella,
You head to the library.
I'm going to say to, yeah, brain went dead. Let's go to the library to death.
All right. While Fix catches up with his dad, the rest of you head to the library. It's like, hey, you can catch up with us later.
Yeah.
So you head to the library.
Forsyth is sick of hearing about Zybella.
And when you walk into the university library, they immediately recognize your robes, Evangeline, and they give you a little nod. And as you kind of walk in, you will get a page will come up to you and will announce herself as, I don't know, Jillian.
Hmm.
And
So you're a page at the library.
yes, yeah,
Thank you for title, like Jennifer.
the satire is not lost on me. She will say, I am a page here, and I have been assigned to assist you in any way as necessary.
Okay. Well, we have multiple needs, but I would suggest the most important one is going to be Miss Cadeth, who needs some listings on maybe some of the more obscure or distant teleportation circles.
And I will give a nod behind him.
And myself, I am looking for zoological books on the southeastern portion of the continent on the other side of the lake, the sea, if
Oh,
you will.
the amorphous fields.
Yes,
Very well.
because I believe they're going to have their own flora and fauna, all of which I would be interested in studying.
Very well.
And Madame can state her own needs.
I will be needing texts of ancient history pertaining to particularly the second and third age.
Very well. She will show you to a more private, like study room, study chamber. Typically, Evangeline, you know this, these are reserved usually for the high priests and government officials who need to study things here at the library. They will lead you to one of those rooms, and she says, I will return shortly. And you kind of sit there and you wait and you chit chat a little bit. And after about 10, 15 minutes, she walks in with a couple of books and sets them down and then walks back out. You know, this is kind of comes in and out with books and things like that. You find there are some arcane books and teleportation circle type books, both of how to create, how to make, establishing ruins, as well as established teleportation circles. Um, that when she hands it to you, she does like a little hand motion over it, which you would recognize Kadeth as she's unlocking the book. So, like, just not anybody can open this book without proper permissions. And she's unlocking the book for you. She comes back with the amorphous fields, flora and fauna, both of the northern portion, southern portion, and sea creatures that may be found along the shores. She brings, like, there's 3 or 4 books of those things there. Evangeline, she comes back with a rather hefty tome of history, as well as a couple of smaller tomes that seem to basically, like, the titles are like Origins of the Steadfast, Establishment of the Great Cities, things of that nature that they're kind of vague titles, but when you start to flip them open, and at a cursory glance, these are definitely of the first, second, and third ages.
Hey, you put those on a stove, you got tome on the range.
Ba-dum-cha.
Ba-dum-cha. And that is where we're going to end tonight, because I have to do myself some research so that I can give you what's in those books. And so we're going to stop there tonight. And so
At least we've given you a path,
yeah,
which
you're
we
gonna
will
do some
deviate
study.
from shortly.
Yeah, probably next week. I'll do all of this. I'll gather all this information. You guys will do something different, and I'll be like,
yeah,
well,
forget about the tomes. We're not reading those.
yeah, we're not reading
Yeah.
those.
I'm just looking for the pictures.
That's true. You just need pictures. So we're gonna stop there tonight. For those of you who are still watching, thank you for sticking with us and sticking through the whole thing. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos. You can turn on the notifications so you know when we go live. And you can also check out our other social media links which are in this description of the video as well as on our website. We're not as active on our other social media, but you can check those out just the same. But definitely check out our website, dndaddjokes.com, because that is where you're going to find out where we're at. We're so excited to go to Louisville and to the Bourbon City Steam and to Wild Wild West Con here in Tucson, because most of us will be at both of them. So you can come, hang out, say hi, play a game with us. We'll be running some games. So
It's
check
okay.
those out.
There's going to be 4 of us in Louisville.
Yep.
And all 5 of us.
All 5
Wild
of us
Wild
at Wild Wild West Con. So come check us out.
And if you want nuts, play a game with us.
You ain't sick of the puns yet. So, all right. I think that's it. Is there anything else? Nope.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Then we'll see you next week.